Now hold on.
Pretty, pretty. Pretty.
Hi guys, thanks for joining me today for this tutorial on how I did my daughter's hair in that cute little style for toddlers. Let's begin. This is the hair that I use, this cute cotton candy hair. I did want to do her whole head in that, but it was way too long and I couldn't cut it right, so we did a little bit. First, I started with a center braid. I had to part it in the center. She was moving way too much and I couldn't really get to it very well, but I tried my best. So I got a center part, I braided it on both sides, and then I had to go back and tie up the other sides of her head to keep it out of the way. And I just stopped the braid, the middle braid, halfway because I did want it to hang a little bit in the back. Then I just tied her hair back, used my special spray for moisturizing the hair so I could brush through it to make sure it was detangled and smooth for the braid. And then I went ahead and started cornrowing right down the center of her part. I did use quite a few pins down the sides of her hair so it stayed down. Throughout her braids, I did use the Tropical Roots Twist Cream so that I could smooth her hair down and make sure the roots are nice and shiny. And it's got great hold as well for a soft touch. Then I went ahead and split the back into two sides, and I tied up the left side of her hair to keep it out of the way so that I could start on the right side of her hair. Now on the right side, I parted just a little section right above her ear for the braid going toward the front. Now, the way I wanted to do this didn't come out, so I went ahead and cut the blue parts off so that it wasn't as long. It would have been down to her kneecaps if I hadn't cut it. So then I just started braiding from the back of her head toward the front and down past the ear. I added in a very, very, very small amount of the braiding hair, about twice, to give it a long braid. I was hoping the end would be like more pink, but the pink was too pale, so it was just like kind of white at the end. Then I went ahead and split it down in the back. I split it in half so I can start braiding the back half of her head for the braids that are going to be hanging down. And I went ahead and tied up the top part of her hair. So I started in the front braids and I parted it. I just did some simple back, straight back braids for her head because her head is so small and she doesn't have much hair going on. So I just did a couple of braids going toward the back and they hung down in the back. When I was done with all those braids, I tried to make like a little bun on the top after the 4 little braids. And then I went ahead and I split the back portion into 2 halves so I could braid down. I was going to do some cornrows so that she had some hanging braids in the back. And I just did them straight down, 2 rows of straight down braids. I did about 4 braids, 3 or 4 braids on the bottom half row, and then about 4 braids on the top half row. And I made sure I did the same thing, just brushing through them with the spray and braiding it down with the cream. When I was done with that, I started with a tool for the beads. This is actually for turning tubes in sewing. I actually used this. It's about $4 at Joann Fabrics, and stack the beads on. I like to put no more than 3 or 4 beads on per braid for her little hair so that it does not break off or is too heavy or too much for her hair. You start off much like crocheting, and you just hook the little hook onto the end of the hair. There's a little piece, a little metal piece. You make sure that goes up. When you push the beads up, it usually does push the rest of the little metal piece up. I was having a few difficulties. And then you just push all the beads that you want to put on that braid all the way up, just like any other tool you would use for beading. And then you take the last bead on the bottom half of the hair, and you go ahead and you bend over the last end of the hair. I should have bent over more because her hair was so thin at the end. It actually slipped off a couple of days later. And then you just wrap the rubber band around that bit of hair, and you just keep doing that all the way around on all the beads, on all the braids that you want to bead. I only beaded the 2 bottom rows because I didn't want so much beads on her hair, and I kind of wanted to keep the top part in little buns because I really liked how that looked. And then again, I already did something on the front braids, so I didn't want too much dangling and heaviness on the end of those long braids. Then that middle center braid, I went ahead and put some fun little bead. She said she wanted rainbow, so I put a rainbow bead right there. Specifically, it hung a little bit higher up, and that's how I beaded all of them. She loves it. Then I went in with 2 dread beads. One of them has like kind of diamonds on it, and I just put that in the center of her head for some sparkle. I wanted to put it around the bun, but it wasn't big enough, so I just put it in the middle. Then I went back with a dangly butterfly dread gem, and I just put that in the front so it dangled down. Very cute. She loves it, and I love how this turned out. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment if you like this style, and make sure you tag me on your Instagram at ShanaJRay if you do this style so I can see. Thanks guys, bye.